This is a tutorial for a memory photo board. You'll need a canvas, some batting, material, brads, and just some regular crafting items like scissors and hot glue. First, you'll measure out your material that you want on the front of your photo board. I chose purple. The kind that you buy at the store in quarter sizes is actually perfect for this project. Next, you'll lay out your batting and cut it to size. Sometimes it can come on a roll, or it can even come pre-cut at the fabric store as well. So you want to cut that the same size as either your material or your canvas, but you want it bigger, slightly bigger than your canvas, because you have to fold it behind and staple it to the back of your canvas. So you don't want it the exact size of the canvas, but a little bit bigger, so there's enough room to staple it. Next, you need an industrial stapler. Your household stapler will not work for this. The staples just won't hold. And you just go around your canvas, stapling your batting to the back of your canvas. Make sure that you're not stapling on top of the staples that are already in your canvas. That won't hold very well. So I chose to do one opposite side of the other and then go and do the other two sides. Make sure that when you are folding your corners, that you fold them at an angle and get a nice straight, well-adjusted corner, or you'll regret that later when you go to put your material on top. So you want to fold in like I'm showing here, and make sure that you staple on top of the piled up batting that's under your fold. And again, trimming the batting after you've stapled it down isn't necessary, but it kind of gets it out of your way so that you don't have to deal with it when you go to put your material on top. So once you have all of your batting stapled down and trimmed up, then you'll put your material on top and basically do the same thing with your material this time. You're going to put your canvas on top and staple all the edges down. It's even more important with the material that you make sure the edges, the corners, are folded in nice and tight and evenly. Also, make sure that when you're doing the opposite side of your canvas, when you're stapling that down, that you've pulled it straight, taut across the front of the canvas. You don't want any loose material hanging out anywhere. So again, I'm trimming my edges. You'll see in a few minutes that I decided to hot glue them down just for some extra stability. I'm not sure the hot glue is necessary. I'm trying to show you how I'm folding the corner there, although it doesn't look like I did a very good job of lighting in this instance. But you go ahead and do the same thing with the material that you did with the batting in the first couple of sides. Fold and staple, fold and staple. That's pretty much all you're doing. There, I didn't get my corner as crisp as I would have liked it, so I was trying to fix it, and it looks like I decided that it was good enough. Those industrial staplers are kind of hard to use. You have to squeeze pretty hard in order to get the staples to come out, and I don't have very good hand strength, so I was really struggling with the stapler. Just checking the other side of the canvas to make sure it's pulled tight. And you see I'm having issues with my corner there. I want it to be nice and straight. All right, now it's all stapled down. Go ahead and cut the excess material off, anything that you haven't already cut. And then here you'll see, pull out the hot glue gun. Guess I decided to stick one last stapler in there. Okay, so I did use the hot glue gun, but at that point in the project is when I decided that it was a good idea and I plugged it in and was waiting for it to get hot. So in the meantime, I'm measuring out my ribbon. This is just 3/8 of an inch ribbon. This particular roll came off the clearance section after Christmas. It's a gold color because purple and gold are LSU colors in Louisiana. So you measure out your ribbon. You want it to go edge to edge. We want to make a giant X on the canvas. And what you want to do, this ribbon was kind of stiff, and so I have put it on there and then twisted it to make it kind of hug the edges a little bit. I did one of these the other day that had a more forgiving ribbon and I did not have to twist it. So that's just a personal preference, whether you need to twist it depending on the ribbon to make it a little tighter. So you see it's on there, and so you just go straight across, catty corner, go to the other side, and do the same thing. You want to have enough excess ribbon. Make sure you have enough ribbon so that you can staple it down. And the ribbon I found, especially this ribbon, was kind of a sheer colored ribbon. I decided to also hot glue the ribbon down just because I wasn't sure if the staple was going to hold it long term, because it was a very flimsy ribbon and the stapler poked a hole in an already not sturdy ribbon. So I decided to use the hot glue on the ribbon as well. And here I'm just hot gluing the material down so it has something extra to hold it in place. Also, when you go to hang it on the wall, having all that excess material flying about can make it a little harder to hang. So it just makes it easier to deal with if you hot glue the material down. And of course, watch your fingers while you're doing that. I think I burned myself a couple of times. Now, if you're in your corners, if your material is double folded, so that when you go to hot glue it down, some of it's still poking up, that's okay. That's not going to interfere with your hanging. I did figure out the best way to hot glue that sheer ribbon down is to not use that pink brandishing tool that I have there, but to just put a little hot glue under it and kind of lay the ribbon on top of it, and it sticks pretty well without even touching it because it's so sheer that it doesn't even need any pressure to adhere to the glue. All I'm doing there with that pink tool is creating a bigger mess. I ended up cutting the ribbon off. Okay, so there's our first ribbon on. Now we're gonna add the second one. Like I said, you're just making a giant X, stapling each side of the ribbon down and then hot gluing. See there? Oh, there I go with that tool again. Completing my X. That's the fourth corner, thank goodness. Okay, so at this point, you may find it necessary to measure to measure the space between the middle ribbon in the X and the edge of the canvas, the corner of the canvas, I was pretty comfortable with being able to eyeball it. But I did measure the first one or two of these that I did to make sure the spaces were even and the canvas wouldn't be off center. So I'm just measuring out 4 ribbons approximately the same size. 2 are going to go one way and the other 2 will go the opposite direction. And the easiest way to eyeball this is to know that you're essentially just making a bunch of X's. Remember that when you're stapling the ribbons that are going diagonally like that, that you want them diagonally in the opposite direction on the back of your canvas. So you don't want them straight across on your canvas, or the ribbon itself is going to be crooked and it won't look right. It'll give your X an off-center look. So once you have that first ribbon on there, you're going to want to line up your second ribbon and see how it makes an X at the middle of the edge there. And that's what you're doing. You want it to create a point that's, and here I'm measuring so you can see, you're creating the points so that they're even all the way across. And that way it'll look like perfect diamonds as opposed to off-centered, badly drawn squares. So here you're just matching everything up. You can measure if you want to or if you feel the need to. Make sure your ribbons are also diagonally stapled on the back edge. See, I finally figured out the best way to hot glue those ribbons down is to just put the hot glue in, set the ribbon on top of it. All right, we have 2 ribbons left, and we're going to make sure that our X's are matching up at the top and in the middle. Okay, so we are going to make sure the X's are matching up on the diamonds. Cut our ribbon. See how that top X is even with the middle one. It's the last ribbon. Making sure all the X's are even. Here's where you want to make sure all your measurements match up if you're using a ruler. There. Beautiful diamonds. So now what we're going to do is add the brads to hold the ribbon in place and create that quilted look. This is a piercing tool. I bought 2 they came 2 in a pack at Dollar Tree. On that first one, I was able to use just the piercing tool and push the brad through. But you're going to see, I wasn't able to do it on this one. Okay, I used only the piercing tool on the last canvas I did, but using the X-Acto knife to create a little bit of a larger hole in the ribbon and the material in the canvas made things go much more smoothly than just the piercing tool. But what you don't want to do is use the knife, the X-Acto knife first, because you need that initial round hole so that your material just doesn't rip right through with that X-Acto knife punching the hole. So you want to punch your hole with the round tool and then use the X-Acto knife to create a little bit of a larger hole so that your brads go through with no problem. Now they do have decorative brads as opposed to these just plain gold or brass colored ones. I was on a time crunch when I purchased these items, and all they had available at my local store was the regular old gold brads. But if you want the decorative ones, or if you wanted to put a button or something on top of it, that would also give it a little bit more decorative quality. So this is the final product, and hope you enjoyed this tutorial.